Yeah, Raider Nation. How are you doing out there? I'm especially excited tonight. And I haven't done a Hardy Yarg in quite a while. And it definitely is, in my estimation, it definitely needed to be done tonight. Because the person that I have on, who, you know, it's one of those things where you say the person I have on that needs no introduction, and he always gets the introduction anyway, he will get that introduction. And I'm very happy to say that for the first time in like forever, actually, I think this is the first time we've actually had a chance to do any sort of interaction other than when we were at Raider Nation Explosion last year. And we had fun with that. But again, the man who needs no further introduction, I'm going to say his name, and then I want you to come in with your trademark there, Mr. Bear. It's the Raider Bear.
Ooh, that was nice. The Raider Bear! What's up, brother? Appreciate you and permission to come aboard.
Permission granted, sir. It is very good to see you. In fact, I'm actually too far forward. There I am. See, I had all the markings set up that when I was on camera, I was supposed to be in a certain spot. So I guess my chair wasn't where it was supposed to be when we first did this. Again, because the people have to see my ugly mug, but and
salty sailor.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I mean, trust me, you don't get looking like this from excessive great health. Okay, unlike you, who is svelte and can rock a chrome dome, and I say a chrome dome with pure pleasure and manliness in the fact that there are some people. I can't do that, man. Trust me. I look ugly when I have no hair, and there are people that have to have Telly Savalas, Yul Brynner, and of course Joseph Bordelon, the Raider Bear. So
I know that guy.
You're in and also what's his nose? The guy that from the new Shaft. Oh man, the black.
Samuel L., isn't it?
There you go, Samuel L. Jackson. When Samuel L. Jackson, he has that dome look as well. That you can rock that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, he definitely pulls that off.
And Asylum is saying that some of us have no choice when it comes to a bald head, and so I will go through the roll call here. And by the way, if you're on Facebook. I'm very sorry, but I can't read comments on Facebook tonight because for some reason Facebook, and I'll try to put it back on, but I was getting feedback on Facebook, and it was in the
damn Zuckerberg.
Yeah, damn Mark Zuckerberg. He only has billions what they say, billions and billions of dollars.
Right. Much too much money.
Yeah, but when I was trying to get the feed up for the Facebook feed, I couldn't turn off the sound, even though I had it on mute. So I don't know what was going on. I'm trying it again. Right. I will try to have where I am monitoring Facebook as well. But I keep telling people, and I say this from jump, if you're on Facebook, I appreciate you being here. But get your ass over to YouTube, okay?
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, a
big red button on your cell phone.
There you go. And it's kind of like the people like, oh man, I will be lost. I'll be like in an extended world. Yeah. I'll be in an alternate universe if I'm not plugged into Facebook.
Yeah.
And
like they're cool.
I get it, okay? But you know what? The cool people are on YouTube.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say nerd. That. Well, you're not a nerd. You're not a nerd.
I'm such a nerd. I'm in Facebook. I'm such a nerd.
It actually, and since I have my patch on, I'm not sure. You can't see this. I got to move my patch around so I can actually read as well. My patch is kind of cockeyed, but I'm a cockeyed son of a bitch anyway. So there you go. So I got I got Facebook the feed, and now I get that spinning circle of death. Okay.
And loading.
It's loading and loading. Okay, and I want to make sure that you being here. There you go. It was okay. Okay, I got that portion, but for some reason I can't. It's not showing comments, and that's what's okay. We might have had a breakthrough. We might have had a breakthrough. You might be the good luck charm. Okay.
You sealed the holes in the ship.
Yeah, we are manning. Okay, and the other good thing is that the sound is off. So as the comments come up on Facebook, I will tell people where we are at. Okay, so Facebook is on,
and I'll tell them to go to hell if they get out of line.
There you go. I mean, because you're get a double whammy and a double foots in you. If you're not following directions. Okay.
They don't understand what they're in for, okay? They put the bear on the Captain Jack ship, okay? That's just one more cannon.
That's like having not only having extra barrels of cannons, that's like having Oh my God, what would be the equivalent? That would be like having the 16-inch guns.
More whiskey.
No. It would be like having the 16-inch guns of a modern, and modern being the operative word, a modern being back from the late 1940s or early 1940s, of a modern battleship on a sailing ship. So you got those guns on a sailing ship. So that's awesome. So again, we welcome you all that are watching on Facebook. I don't have any comments showing yet, though. That's amazing. I don't have
They're
any
not
comments.
talkers. They just watch.
Okay.
They're
Oh,
watchers.
well, they're voyeuristic then. Okay.
That's my fault. I conditioned them.
They're voyeurs. Now, the one thing we will say, and we do got this on now, later on in the show, we are going to try, and the operative word is try. We're going to try to have.
We're going to give an effort.
I'm sorry, what was that there, shipmate?
We're going to put our best effort.
Okay, we will effort. We will be efforting to have phone calls in. Now, here's the thing.
I had to have my 2 cents.
If you are normally ones that will call the number, you can't call the number tonight because Bear is on the number. So that means you can't get through that way. Now, if you're going to call, and we will do that after, when we're good and ready to have you, okay? When we're good and ready to have you, you can call in, possibly via Skype, and we'll have that number up. So again, they're ringing the bell. So
again, it's completely the Bears' fault. Sorry, everyone.
No, it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I was ready to take the blame. I don't care.
No, shush.
Be mad.
Don't. Hey,
it was me.
Don't piss off the old dude, man. Okay.
I'm already started.
Don't piss off the old. Now, granted, you got me in tall. You got me in tall.
Jack Bears hanging off of the flag again.
You got me in tall. You got me in svelte. You got me in muscles. But I'm an ornery son of a bitch, and I'll just wrap you up.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now be kind to the old man. Okay. Again, and
yes, sir.
And Mr. Joseph, I appreciate the fact. And here's the other thing as well. I will call him Raider Bear, but I am of a mind that when you know somebody personally, and he knows this, I call him by his given name when we do have conversations. But for tonight's conversation, it is Raider Bear. And he calls me Captain. He also calls me Jay because he's just whatever he wants to do. And again, Bear, I appreciate you being here. It's been how many years we've wanted to do this, and we're finally doing something. And one of these days, if and when I get a chance to, one of these days when the environment is such where there will be COVID less conditions where I can actually fly. I would love to do a show in studio with you. Right now, this is the best we can do is a split screen of an ugly mug talking and a really cool picture of you rocking the bear chain, which is cool.
Appreciate that.
You got it. So again,
I really appreciate that.
Mr. Bear, the captain will ask you because you are my guest tonight. There are people that know you, but there are some people that really don't know you. So if you can, give me some details about Joseph Bordelon, a.k.a. Raider Bear.
Okay. Well, I've been an athlete pretty much all my life in just about every way. I play sports. I teach sports. I came up in sports medicine. I have a little bit more than 20 years in sports medicine working with athletes to both rehab injuries they may have, to teach them how better to use their mechanics physically to keep from getting injured as they move forward. I sort of specialize in that. And then that grew into something else as I got older. I became more of a weight loss and life coach with dieting and nutrition, and because I was around much more older people. I was working for a country club. I stayed for about 8 years, and while I was there, I was here in Modesto. It's called the SOS Club. It no longer exists now. But while I was there, I had a great time, and then I've always been a Raider fan. I've been a Raider fan since, God, I'm not going to say the numbers, but But my grandfather took me to my first Raider game at 7 years old. And I always tell this story. It's brief, but it's hilarious. My grandfather was responsible for babysitting me for my parents who were going to be at work. And there was a Raider game, and he had tickets. So he picked his grandson up, me, and he wrapped me up in a blanket and took me to a Raider game. And, of course, I don't remember it, but he swears it was the Raiders against the Broncos, Frank Mecklenburg, and all these guys. He'd tell me all these stories about it. And, that was my first experience as a Raider fan at 7 years old.
It's amazing.
And, it grew into something else. And,
No, go ahead. I'll tell you in a second.
No, I was almost done. But all I was going to say is it just grew into something as a fan because I started recording videos of myself shouting out my front door just as a fan, shouting touchdowns. And I used to try to make it sound like Greg Papa. And then Greg Papa, I thought was just kind of, I don't know, bland. So I just did it louder and harder. And then people started asking me to do a whole thing in a show and record videos. And it just turned into that.
Well, it was amazing because I have my notes here. It says age, profession, and family background. And then the second line is retell your story about how you became a Raiders fan. And, you went right to it, man. Just right through the segue. And that's what I call great minds thinking alike. That's good. So
right on.
And Matt Marinovich asks, are you a physical therapist?
I am not a physical therapist, but I was a physical therapist assistant because after physical therapists would work with their patients, then they would give the patient to me to develop their strength. And so that would be my part of my job in that way, working with them in the weight room, teaching them how to get stronger, even though they have injuries. Because a lot of people assume once they hurt their leg or their shoulder that they can't work out anymore. And there are a thousand ways you can exercise even injured body parts if you know how to safely.
Right. And I know that and I caught a lot of your expertise is, and this is one of the best things that I love about your profession is that because you work with physical ailments and you know that if this guy has this injury and taking into account his age, that maybe he's dealing with X, Y, and Z for 3 weeks to 6 weeks, you have an expert opinion because I would say that you're a physiologist, I guess would be a best way to say it.
My understanding of physiology, yes. I'm a master's student.
Okay, so there you go. So the fact that you know this stuff as part of your job, you give an expert opinion on what we can expect for certain things, and that's one of the best things about it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's not really much better than what you do, to be quite honest with you. You're doing it from experience and knowledge of the game, from years of watching players get hurt. I'm doing something similar. The only real difference is that when they start to talk about actual ligaments, medial collateral, anterior cruciate ligaments, things like that, I can tell right away if they're saying that's torn or if that's, going to need surgery, how long. I can tell you almost immediately. There are times where they say, oh, this guy's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, no, no. You're looking at a year, you know what I mean? And that's just a honest, aggressive stance to take because it's a millionaire athlete. So people want to hear the good side of it. So if it's going to take 12, they say 6 to 8. It's really 12. Got
it. Hey, Mike, Sarah, keep that question for when we go into the team because that's a very good question. But I want you to bring it up later on, and we'll get to that.
Mike, Sarah?
Yeah, Mike, Sarah's there.
What's up, Mike?
You guys got the whole crew, and I didn't get a chance to say it was like doing Mouseketeer roll call. And now that we have Facebook in, JD is here and Jerry D. Guillermo Diaz and Alejandro Lopez and Lee Weber and Eric Juradic. They're on Facebook. All you Facebookers, please come over to YouTube. The link is right there at the top of the broadcast. Go to YouTube, please, because this way it's easier for me to read only one set of comments. And besides, I like to see you on YouTube. And I'm going to say this as well. If you don't know, I'm giving away a Raider prize pack when I get to 850 subscribers, and it's free. All you have to be is a public member of the Captain Jack page. And I say public because if you're private, I don't know you're a member, then you can't win the prize. So make sure you're on public. So that's at 850. I think we got about another 40, like 42 members or 43 members to go. We'll give away that 850 prize pack. And then at 1,000, and I'm sure Bear would be interested in this as well, I have a Marcus Allen helmet.
No. I get one just for participating in this interview. I thought that was a deal. That's it. I'm out of here.
Now, I will say this, that when, I didn't say if and when, because the if is actually coming on, but when I get my patches, I know that you put patches on your accoutrement, and there's my French, there's that French you were talking about pre-show. When I get my patches for your accoutrement, we will have a Captain Jack patch sent your way, and we'll have everybody there, and they will be sold. I just have to get them in the stockpile, and I'm waiting to do a couple more things to get them squared away, but there will be Captain Jack patches.
Always like a pirate negotiating.
Yeah,
always like a pirate parlay. I love that.
Yeah, the parlay. We have our whiskey and we have our rye.
There it is.
Arr. And Vicky's here, and Joe Catano is here. So yeah, that's great.
What's up, Joe?
Just Steve Spoltor. Steve's over in the house.
Looks like guy.
Yeah, we got Aaron Cortez or Aaron Cortez.
Aaron, there you go. There, you got it already, Captain.
Aaron, and I can roll my R's as white as I am. As white as I am, I can speak I can enunciate Spanish. I can roll my R's. I can speak German. Das ist nicht sehr schlecht. Jawohl.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'll throw some, and I can speak some Arabic, and the Arabic that I know how to speak is, if you ever hear this, run away as quickly as possible. If you ever hear these words, Allah Akbar, if you ever hear that, that means it's your ass. That means that, there's something bad that's going to happen. And, and again, I say that, it is a jest. It doesn't mean that all Arab people, because you'll hear that when Muslims are at prayer. And again, always be reticent. The fact that, hey, everybody is allowed to be on this world. There's
That's so funny.
We're all good, but I can say Allah Akbar, and like I said, if it looks like the guy's got his hand on a detonator, then you might want to turn around and run.
You are out of your mind. This is YouTube. Let me get ahead of all the YouTubers right now. Captain Jack's a racist. That's it.
Oh!
That's it. He's a racist.
I'm a racist.
I'm trolling you, Captain Jack, during this interview.
Well, actually,
you're done. All these YouTubers now, you're done.
I do.
The Raider Bear would like to do a disclaimer that I am not associated with any of Captain Jack's
I do have a flyby troll. He's the only person that comes on my show to give me a thumbs down, and then he leaves. He gives me a thumbs down and he leaves. Yeah. So
he's gonna replay that part. He's gonna remix it and just have you going. He's
gonna kill you. Well, there you go.
A whole different pool, man. These YouTubers, I'm gonna kill you for that.
Yeah, well, such is life. Hey, at least I said it correctly though too. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam. There you go.
Oh man, you're in trouble now.
Yeah, no, that's the greeting, man. Now.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I hope that wasn't cursing or anything.
No. That's the proper greeting between two people of the Islamic faith. They shall say Assalamu alaikum, and then your response would be Alaikum assalam. So it's like
I've heard that term.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the good stuff. Okay, and I do Hebrew as well. Shalom.
No, don't do that. No, I can already feel the trolls typing. Don't give them more. Don't give them more.
I can
do
Hebrew.
It. I mean, their fingertips are burning right now. I mean, you got them slapping like Pavlovian dogs right over their keyboard. They can't write fast enough.
My last name is Levy, man. I better know some Hebrew, okay? My goodness.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Right?
So you guys are saying, what the hell are they talking about? And by the way,
we don't even know.
I haven't sworn yet, and there is, and this is the one difference that, and I love you for it, you don't swear on your show. And I tell people this, I can do 2 hours without swearing. I used to do that in Guantanamo, okay? I did my show. Wow. I did my show for 2 hours in Guantanamo. It was on the Armed Forces Network, so I had to abide by FCC regulations. I can do 2 hours without swearing. However, because I sometimes get a little upset, and because I don't have to abide by FCC regulations for YouTube, I will let one fly every now and again. Now, this is one question I'm gonna ask you, and it is on my show here.
Maybe that would be what we should use the bell suggestion I was making for earlier. We should just like ring the bell when a big F-bomb is coming.
Well, actually,
everyone's prepared for it.
Yeah, actually, what we do is when I swear, I have to take a shot because there are, Miss Pacheco, actually both Miss Pachecos, Angela and Anna, and also Vicky Orr. Vicky gave me, and you can't see it on your, because I'm going to put it up to the screen, but Vicky gave me this nice Raider shot glass, and yeah, and then I have a nice Raider flask, which is right here, and again, we're on a split screen, so you, anytime that I swear, I'm supposed to take a shot. Now, I didn't put anything in the flask tonight, but I do have my Big Raider, my Chiefs, and not Kansas City Chiefs, but my Navy Chiefs mug initiation. So anytime I do swear, normally I have to take a shot of that. So I didn't even swear yet.
There's too much buildup now. You're gonna have to swear about something at some point now. There's too much buildup. I feel like I need to swear.
Okay. Well, I this is verbatim. This is from the comment line. Okay.
Okay.
Jerry D, and I love Jerry D. Jerry D is about as New York as it comes, okay? And I'm quoting Jerry D. This is a quote. It's not me. This is a quote. Boy. Jerry D says, hold on tight. Let that fuck fly. Arrgh! There it is. I let it fly. Well, you know what? And Vicky wants me to take a shot anyway, so here you go. There's for the F. So Jerry D is the guy that made me curse.
Oh, well, I can give you a brief story if you'd like. That's along that same line.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I was setting you up for this.
Okay, so I was at this show one time, and this guy has this incredible speaker setup. And he has a roadie, that's helping out with the band, and he's supposed to be setting up the speakers and, doing the sound checks and so on. So he was over there and he was doing his thing, and these girls that were in really tight clothes and looked really hot, and they were just trying to like talk their way backstage, and they were trying to work their way through him. Well, he got caught up in the breath, you know what I mean? It didn't know what he was doing. It slowed down and made a mistake, all this stuff. So the manager, the guy who's in charge of all the loading and rigging, comes over and sees the kid. Okay, now I'm telling you right now, before anyone starts laughing, this is a true story. I am giving you verbatim what the man said to the kid who was supposed to be rigging up this crew. So he extends his hand with his pointed finger and he goes, come here, with his one finger, come here, just come here. So the kid walks over to him and he goes, listen to me, you fucking fuck. If you don't start fucking getting this fucking shit done and you don't stop fucking with those stupid birds over there, you want to get your whatever fucked, and you fucking motherfucker, you better get that fucking shit fucking fucked right now, you mother. And he could, it sounded like he was going to have his throat. He was barely using any actual English words other than fuck. And he was like, fuck, 1, 2, 3, fuck. 1, 2, 3, fuck. And he just, literally every third word was the F word. And that kid just ran away from it with his butt on fire. shushes the girls away and gets to work. It was hilarious.
Well, you know, it's great. And the props were the fact that you do your show without it, and that's wonderful. I can do it without it, but people kind of expect it from me every now and again because I am the salty fuck that I am. that I do let it fly. Now I wanna ask something as well, and I had it written down. So let me get my words. Where did the Footsinum concept come from? I love that, the way that you say that. And so yeah, there you go. Put Footsinum. Talk to me about that.
Well, you know, I mean, it's like when you kick someone in their butt, you know, when your mom sees you doing something dumb, and, you know, every once in a while, my mom would just turn, just kick you in the butt, you know, and so, you know, it came from an old phrase, and just grandma or mom saying, boy, I'll put my foot in you. See, they didn't say it like I do, you know, they would just say, I'll put my foot in you, boy. Don't make me do it. You know? Right. And that was just the, like, belt threat. You know what I mean? And they never actually did it. That's what's funny about it. I went through, like, my entire childhood afraid of getting a foot put in me, and yet never even came close. Not one of my aunts or grandmothers or my mom or anyone actually did it. But boy, that threat was there, boy. You always wondered if you were about to get foot in you. But no, I just took an adaptation of that and took it to another level.
I love that because I had never heard. Now I heard obviously getting a foot in your ass. That I heard. Okay. Right. But the way you did it was very unique and iconoclastic. And I like the fact that is something that we can attest to a definitely a bearism, because that's cool. That's cool. Foot's in you. I like that. Okay. Bear needs a foot in him. Oh, bear needs a foot's in a patch. I agree. That would be a patch. You know, like even a shield with foots in them, like kind of like a picture of you, or you know your bear logo, but you know, or maybe on the outskirts of the shield you can put foots in them, and that would sell too.
Sure, I like that idea.
That would sell too. So make sure. So who said that? Logan Moore said that. So you make sure that he gets.
Logan Moore gets 2%.
2%. There you go. Just like you.
I'm cheap.
And I was there the night that Logan was talking about getting sponsorship for people in Vegas, and Logan was already out there. So again, and I had the idea. I didn't say it on the show. I had the idea as well. It's just that with the situation being what it is, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to actually go and do things because Vegas is not what it used to be, and it's just starting to get back to somewhat normalcy. Sure. So they don't want to talk about they don't want to put out any money to anybody that they don't have to at this point. That's for sure.
Right. Well, I'll be honest with you. I actually recommended this to some people before. You might have heard about it, but if you hadn't, I'll say it now. Other super fans, other people that themselves want to do events and things like that, I've already told them they should be getting to, you know, they should have months ago, you know what I mean? But even if you started today, you're still going to be able to do it. But you should be getting together with different bars, different clubs that are on the strip, that are near the stadium, that are in Vegas, period, because they're going to want, you know, some people hosting parties, hosting events at their facilities. And what better way than to have, you know, Captain Jack, you know, Violator, Gorilla, you know, whoever else, Ghost Raider, you know, and have them all there. You're going to pull all those people into that bar. You create business for the bar pays you back. You know what I mean? And so they have a lot of opportunity there for that in Vegas, because they have to adapt. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anything that's how should I say this, like bad or scheming or anything like that. They want this. You know, they want this because they have to adapt to entertain those people that are going to be, you know, eventually allowed back in these bars, eventually allowed back in these restaurants. So.
Yeah, and in fact, when I was out in Vegas last time, I won't say what eating establishment it was, because I'm not going to give anything away. Right. But I was at this eating establishment, and I said, man, this is the place that I want to be a member and do sponsorship for, because I'm a foodie, not a drinky. And if I can get
Me too.
if I can
Yeah,
get sponsored by a really nice restaurant, then trust me, I would. Boy, not that I would over exceed my welcome there, but damn, I can get some really good, and I'd be happier than a pig in shit, man. It'd just be wonderful for me to get that. And
I don't know, pigs and shit are pretty happy.
El puerco.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's some of that Spanish going on. And
I was just pretending I understood what you said.
El puerco, that's Spanish for pork, for pig.
Okay.
Okay. And Logan says you
use that
reached
with my
out to a few club hosts. They're all worried about their jobs right now remaining closed. Yeah, Logan, and we appreciate the fact that if and when it comes to a point where you can do that and ride shotgun for us, that would be doing that. And actually, where we need to go, you and I, Bear, and you can actually probably be there in about 2 hours or so. We need to go to Vicky's house, because Vicky this is from the comments section. Let me see if I can get the whole list here.
Are you talking about Vicky Ginn?
Yes, Vicky.
Oh, she's cool people.
Oh, she's
Logan
wonderful.
Moore is too, by the way. What's up, Logan?
Oh yeah, and but Vicky was talking about beef and broccoli, orange chicken, chow mein, stir fry rice, stir fry vegetables.
Oh, God, she's making me hungry.
Yeah, and it's like I can't wait to get out there. I can't wait to get out there, because Vicky's already said, and now we were supposed to do this when we were at the game last year in LA, but unfortunately we just couldn't get together. So I already got one, and Vicky has made it abundantly clear that I'm gonna have a nice meal the next time I get out there. So, but we all need, and Vicky says there's plenty for everybody, and we'll get that. And everybody is remarking, because the picture I have on you, you don't have your hat on.
No, I mean, see, I told you that happens all the time, but yeah, that particular one, I was trying to make it more about the medallion. I was wearing my glasses. When I wear those particular sunglasses, I really like them, but they don't work with wearing a hat. So
right.
I went hatless.
No, like I said, you got the dome, brother. You got the dome.
Oh yeah, I rock it smooth. I'm not apologizing for that.
Now, getting back to the because I'm honored to actually have you on here to pick your brain and get more the best to you. Which Raiders team did you grow up with as a kid? I mean, like, who was the quarterback and receivers? I mean, what era were we talking about for Raider? I mean, it's kind of a sly way to figuring out how old you are, but we can say that.
That's funny. No, the LA years were, well, I mean, obviously prior to the LA years, but the LA years were where I was kind of getting die hard, I mean, like really, really starting to wear black all the time and, talking about the team all the time. It was right around then. The whole time, obviously, they were in Oakland, it was my club. I mean, I was going to games as a teenager. But I don't know, there was something about even though, because I never understood why so many people got upset with the move from Oakland to LA. I mean, I understood it, but I didn't understand those who thought of it as like it's traitors and I'm not going to be a Raider fan anymore. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You can be upset, be mad that they're moving and stuff like that, but don't talk about not being a fan anymore. It's ridiculous. I mean, I never understood that push, but yeah. The Marcus Allen, Todd Christensen years, I was very impressed with that. And then, of course, when they came back to Oakland, I was happy about that.
Yeah, I was actually, you must have seen my list here, because you're marking. You got a lot of my segues already good to go. But we'll get.
I'm an easy interview.
There you are, and also so you're easy. I got to talk to Mama Bear about that
one. It's true though.
Now so I would say, so you're talking like Plunkett, Mark Wilson years. Predominantly, so I'm thinking maybe the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Plunkett, and I like Plunkett. Yeah, I was a Plunkett guy. I always thought Plunkett didn't get enough respect. He made his mistakes, you know what I mean? But he's no Terry Bradshaw. I mean, that guy was an idiot and has a lot of rings.
Right. Well,
I had to
actually,
take a subtle Steeler shot at the ball.
there you go. And we're going to do that. And actually, I am going to give some due to. I talked with Carl Mecklenburg the other night. And by the way, yes, this is a shameless plug. But if you didn't get a chance to hear the Carl Mecklenburg interview, a fantastic player for those Denver Donkeys. But
Yeah.
he talks
He's
about.
a good interview too.
He's a great guy, and he was talking a lot about his time with the Broncos and playing the Raiders and how it came down to it. Please make sure you go back and watch or listen to that interview. It's definitely something, you don't have to watch it. You can definitely just put it on podcast wise and listen. I actually had a point here. Damn, I lost my point.
We were talking about the Raiders from back in the day.
There you go.
Todd Christensen stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Now you said that when you were a teenager, you got a chance to go to Oakland. So you didn't teenage down in L.A. years, or was that a little bit too young for you?
No, I was just still too wild. I was just still doing too much stuff. You know what I mean? I was driving and meeting with friends and going out. I took football seriously, but I took too much of the rest of life, way more seriously. It wasn't until I got to about, I'd say, 25, 28, somewhere in that range, before I really started to sort of settle down, and my fandom and the depth that I would take, studying stats and knowing all the players on the team and who's from where and what university they went to. I didn't go that far down the rabbit hole until I was about 27.
Okay, so probably about 3 years ago. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Because you are definitely a good looking dude, and I know that you are not quite as old as me, but I know that we are within spitting distance of each other. And you just.
You want me to say it? I'm not.
No.
You
You
want him to guess?
Yeah, I want them to guess, because again, I know that I got you by a couple years, but we are approximately. We're definitely within a decade of each other. I think we're within about 7 years of each other, maybe even less. So, does your age begin with a 5?
No.
Okay, but it begins with a late 4.
Affirmative.
There you go. So yeah, I'm right. I'm right there. I'm thinking that you're about 47, 48 years old. Ballpark. Okay, good. So again, that I said, so we're around the same era. I mean, I grew up in the 70s with watching the playoff games each year, and I'm in Philadelphia as a kid. And Mike Serra dimed you out. He said that you're 45.
Ballpark.
Okay. So and Vicky says, "Oh no, you're a youngster," and you are. But I always had to watch the great seasons, and I'm in Philadelphia as a kid, and yeah, that's a story in itself. But it was always the Steelers that pissed me off at the very end by beating us in the championship game or a playoff game in Pittsburgh. And then when I went to Florida, and we finally get past Pittsburgh, then it was like Miami beating us, and that pissed me off as well. It wasn't until we finally beat Pittsburgh to go to the Super Bowl. It'd be January 77, if I'm not mistaken, would be Super Bowl 11. And finally seeing that victory, okay, that was my first, most happiest years. And I had moved down from Philadelphia to Florida, and I always retained my fandom. So now, where were you at this time? Obviously in California, but did you bounce around between communities, or where were you at?
I was in Oakland for a little while. Then I was in San Ramon for a little while. Then I ended up in Livermore for quite a long time. That was like my teenage years. And then after Livermore, again, bounced around in Oakland a little bit, and then ventured off on my own. Went a little bit more toward Tracy, Modesto, Turlock, Manteca, that kind of thing. Was in Sacramento for a little while, and then I ended up planting some roots in Modesto, and I've been in Modesto for quite a while now.
Okay, so that's where you're at now, Modesto?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, isn't that where Steve, the guy from American Graffiti's from?
Yes, the guy who originally did Star Wars.
Well, yes, that would be George Lucas, but yeah, and I know that even so, but in the original American Graffiti, Steve I think it was Borland, the guy that was played by Ron Howard. He was an insurance agent in Modesto, so that's why I always remember Modesto.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool town. It's different, you know what I mean? I would say Modesto is one of those places that people talk about for it being weird. You know what I mean? You've got sort of a farmer sort of feel, but then there's a modern feel to parts of it, an old feel to parts of it. It's very culturally diverse. It's not white. It's not black. It's not Mexican. It's not Asian. It's just a little bit of everything all over Modesto. And although we have our problems like any city, I actually kind of like the diversity. I don't like living in, I know other people sometimes say this, but I don't like living in towns that are mostly one nationality. You know, even when I was in Oakland, and I love Oakland, I learned to like other nationalities when I got out of Oakland. And now I can't go back only because I like living in more diversity than that. Oakland's diverse, but it's predominantly black.
Right. And I get my diversity from being a service brat and getting the multicultural from living in a military community, and then you have your military community, then you also have the community where you are at growing up. So you get from diversity to non-diversity and back and forth again. But then especially when you're in the military, if you are a racist fuck, you don't survive too long in the military. That I'll put it that way. So that's
really anywhere.
Yeah, well, true, but one of those things where it in today's day and age that and I go back to the slogan, why can't we all just get along? Because that really, that's the bottom line right there. We need a little bit more of that in our lives as it is. We're not getting political, folks. We're just saying, let's be real and let's love each other. Like in Raider Nation, it's all silver and black, and it doesn't matter what our skin pigmentation is. We're all silver and black.
Who said that? Let me piss him off. Okay, now, Captain Jack, what do you think about Nancy Pelosi and her projected new legal bill?
Well, okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm not touching.
No.
I'm not
Football,
touching. No,
I'm not touching anything. No, he's right. No politics.
No,
Football.
Yep. I said see, you just left a bad taste in my mouth. You said the
No,
words.
That's okay. I'll put foots in him. I'm gonna blame it all on that guy. It has nothing to do with me. I'm putting foots in him. Okay. Trying to tell us we're making it about politics. We're not making it about politics.
We're talking sports,
it's just a
buddy.
little bit of adult conversation. Okay.
There you go.
Completely immature mind. I'm probably chewing out Steve Fultori or someone I totally love.
Oh, well, maybe.
They know I'm an idiot.
Yeah, okay. And here's something else, well, because you brought it up, and I'm going to do the segue now. How often have you had a chance to meet the people that contribute to your shows via commentary? Like, I know you go out and do events. I know you were at Raider Nation Explosion last year, and you're definitely going to be doing it again this year. I'd love to go, but I'm not sure whether.
No, I'm not actually doing it this year.
Oh, okay. But
no, not this year.
Apologies, because again, I wanted to do it, but I'm not sure whether the travel arrangements would make it to be me doing it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about Corona. For me, it was about the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The travel arrangements based upon the COVID-19 environment, which is one of the reasons why all of my tickets for the first half of the season in Vegas, they're all up for sale because I don't know what is going to be the viability of going into an environment where I'm very Personable. I give bro hugs, and I give the ladies big hugs and
Yeah.
kisses. That's
Yeah.
me. So until such a
Yeah.
time that I can feel comfortable doing that, and with my medical issues, and people know this, I can't do
Yeah.
that, and it really detracts from me being me, and that's unfortunate.
I agree.
Yeah. Now I know
Totally
that
agree.
I think that you and I share a an ailment that begins with a D, Delta, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yeah, we do.
I got you right there, and I have that same ailment. Plus, I got the bad ticker, and I'm overweight,
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
over 50. So you put all of those things together. There's a reason why I and trust me, it is just it is burning me to want to go out to do all of these different things and not be able to do it. And I'd attract. Let me get back to my original question. How often in the past have you had a chance to go out and meet the people that you know through your broadcasts?
Quite a bit, to be honest with you. I try to do that as often as I can. I would say, let's see, I'd say 20 plus people. Honestly, and it's a good story. Again, briefly, most of the people I met because they were doing outreach programs that I was associated with. And they just happened to also watch my show. And then once this Oakland outreach program that was done by my friend Oaktown Jules, she started organizing all of us. And I just wanted to be a part of it because I'd fed the homeless in the past. I'd fed the homeless in Oakland in the past, but not to such a massive effort. And, I would go to help churches and we would feed, 100 people. And I would go to a youth center and we would feed 55 people, that kind of thing. And then I got together with my friends and we fed, 800 people, in an afternoon. I mean, it was incredible. And then slowly but surely, more and more people who were viewing my show started to come out to help. And I was just so impressed by them and so pleased that we ended up developing friendships just from being out on the street together.
Well, that's awesome. And again, if and when, that's the if and when. If and when things become available for me to travel, we will definitely meet up again because I would like to do
For
this
sure.
again in a live studio in your house. And granted, you could do the same thing if you ever make it to Florida. You are cordially invited to the Captain's Galleon studio. And
I appreciate that.
and do that. And you I think you have seen pictures of the room.
Okay. Yes, I have.
Okay, I was gonna say, so there's plenty of room over here, and there's plenty of good times, and obviously you and Mama Bear, if you're ever heading, and I tell people, well, you can come to Disney. Well, California people are like, we got Disney, we don't need to go to Disney. But I don't know, do you have Legoland out there?
Okay, to hell with Legoland. We need to get on to some serious business. If I come out there, and I do want to come out there, if I come out there, I cannot be on any part of the land that is anywhere near that guy. And you know what I mean when I say that guy. You know the one, the one that I put it whenever I get an opportunity. Mr. Number 12.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going to get an itch if we get within a few hundred miles of it. So while I'm there, just keep me clear of anything that's orange and creamsicle and all that nonsense they be pulling out there. I'm sorry. I had to get that out.
No, I got you, but here's the thing.
He's in your vicinity now.
He's right.
I
He's
love
in
Legos.
He's in spitting distance. Well, Lego's more over towards Lakeland, so we're away from it. But I will have to say that if you are here, okay, and you come over to this area, you need to go, because I haven't even been there yet myself, you need to go to Burn's Steakhouse. And the reason why I say that is without there being a Burn's Steakhouse, there would not be a team here in Tampa. Because Pete Rozelle, for years and years and years in the off season, when the NFL would get together in Florida, he would have his meetings in Tampa and he would go to Burn's Steakhouse. And Burn's Steakhouse is fantastic for their steaks, along with they have like they even have a whole area that's just for desserts, and it's wonderful. Pricey as fuck. I mean, really. I mean, I mean, bring 3 credit cards just to make sure you can do it. And by the way, make sure you have reservations or you ain't getting in there. But anyway, you go to Burns.
I don't mind for a good steak.
Oh yeah, and it's fantastic. Don't ever go to Shul. I mean, don't go to Shula's. Don't. It's beyond Shula's. It's beyond Ruth Chris. Burns is supposed to be the best, and I haven't been there, so maybe you and I will go there if you get here. But
nice.
That's in Tampa, so that's within smelling distance of that butt plug that you were talking about. So make sure you bring your plugs there.
I never talk about butt plugs. Even ones like that guy.
That's a straight line, and I'm not gonna go there because I don't want to offend any ladies
I
in the
almost
audience.
had you there.
Yeah, I know.
I was baiting you into a comment. It was my fault.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have a suggestion for you.
Go ahead.
Because I know we're moving along. I want to do somewhat of a quick question round. You know what I mean? Like, I know you can see some questions on your YouTube or the Facebook.
Sure.
And I want to make sure that everyone that's tuning in, really gets an opportunity, whatever the questions may be. Let's kind of speed round them.
Okay. If you have any questions, and I have been reading questions as I've seen them,
Sure.
Because again, we were talking about LA and saying that the Raiders.
Make sure, because I can't see it like you can see it.
I got you, and I don't think I've missed too many. The people that said that the Raiders the only team to win a championship in LA. People are talking about their ages. Vicky's 21 again, and we were talking about age. There was the Bear is 45. Vicky says that Bear is our age. I said, within spitting distance. So I don't think I've gotten any, I've missed any questions.
We haven't missed any. Okay.
I don't think so. If I have.
I do want to answer what Vicky said, though. Vicky, the fountain of youth is hidden. It's not water, metal. See, the fountain of youth is hidden in steel. And if you push it, weight will fall. Yeah. I just live by that motto.
Oh, I must have missed that.
That's how I look the way I do. Yeah, that's the way I look. That's why I look the way I do. People think the fountain of youth is some sort of fountain, actual fountain. No, that's code. The actual fountain of youth is water and fitness. And it doesn't matter how much you do it. I tell everybody it's no different than when you go to a doctor. If you want to be healthy, you got to stay in shape. You got to eat right. If you want your teeth to look good, you got to brush them. But when we have these rules that we don't like having put on ourselves, we pick and choose which ones we can obey or, more importantly, disobey.
Right.
And that's one of them. And you can't associate it that way. Fitness is like brushing your teeth, man. And it doesn't matter when you start. Doesn't matter when you start. It doesn't matter if you're heavy or small or, young or old. Just do it a little bit at a time. I'm sorry, that was the health guy.
No. That's good. Like I said, and if I need you for health reasons, then you'll have to get in your private jet and come out here and do that as well. And
sure.
Vicky's saying that the Bear with 3 hearts, water all day. I drink water. I just can't drink. I just can't drink it straight. I have to have Crystal Light in it because to me, water just does. I can't drink straight water. Now, granted, if I'm in a desert and there's nothing else to drink, yeah, I'll be more than happy to drink water.
You're killing me.
Yeah, but if I'm drinking water, I have to have Crystal Light in it because there has to be some sort of taste to it. That's
okay.
just me.
I've had everyone say that. I've been dealing with that for 20 years, and I have the same answer for you, and it always works, and here it is. Everyone does that because everyone's living their whole lives drinking things that give them some sort of flavor.
Right.
Water does have its own type of flavor if it's cold and you drink clean distilled water. Now, if you do that and you do that for a short period of time, always cold and always distilled water, I promise you get to a point where you almost can't drink anything else. It happened to me. I was a 2 liter of Coke kind of guy, like every week.
Right.
And I grew up with parents that spoiled me with that kind of stuff. There was just Pepsi and Coke in the refrigerator whenever I liked it, like a spoiled brat. And, and it was terrible. I was just sucking down sugar all the time. And then once I started lifting weights and changing and drinking more and more water, I started realizing I started to like it. And then eventually when I found out about the D word we're talking about,
right,
I eventually, had to just, I cut out Coke and all that stuff. I have coffee. That's about my only real bad vice.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got you, man. I've actually gone to a point where, and I was like you as well. I was like Cokes and Pepsis a lot growing up as a kid, and then even through my adulthood. And I was, it was soft drinks, soft drinks, soft drinks. But I've gotten to a point
Hmm.
now where I drink, Arnold Palmer's because it's tea and
Okay.
lemonade. It's Crystal Light in my water, and that's what I generally drink all the time. So I've gotten away from the sugars of soda, and Crystal Light
Good.
is not bad. So again, it's a treat for me to actually have a soda. So,
Well, but you have to realize you're already sort of weaning yourself. You're in a middle of the road battle.
yeah,
You could go either way right now. And so what you have to do is keep leaning toward the Crystal Light, try to get it to where it's almost always that,
yeah.
and then lean into the water.
Oh yeah, like I said, when I go
It'll
out
help.
when I go out to drink when I go out to eat, it's Arnold Palmer's. It's not even
Okay.
Cokes. It's
Cool.
it's definitely away from the thing. And Don says Don is that one of those D people as well, and he's been a D people since 2006. So, excuse me. Oh,
Boom.
my dinner is coming up. Apologies. Uh, so I'm going to continue on the good flow. I drink my water ish with the thing. I eat my vegetables. I have my veggies and my fruits, and my meat is there, but at least it's as lean as it can be. So because people want to try to keep me alive for as long as they can, and I want to
All
be
right,
there
I'm
with
getting
them.
too hungry now. We have to get back to football. This is getting too hungry now. Now I'm
Okay,
starting to think about food and
and
water.
let's go to you. What are your favorite memories of two things? What are your favorite Raider memories, and what are your favorite memories of the people that you've had a chance to meet and greet within the organization, events and games?
Well, it's I hate to say this, but the events that have meant the most to me have unfortunately been the ones where we got screwed, and I've always tended to get focused on the tuck rule and that game and the immaculate deception and stuff like that. I don't really have too many games, even though we have quite a few, obviously. Games that we won that I should be cheering about that. I know I tend to focus on the games where we got kind of jobbed. I hate to admit that, but that's just the truth. And then
Gotcha.
let's see. Yeah, and then let's see. Honestly, I mean, I haven't met too many players. I kind of shy away from that. I've in the past, I've met, lots of famous former Oakland athletes in one way or another, basketball players, football players. But when I've had those interactions, almost every time, even though they were being very nice to me, I felt this sense of like they were like almost like zoo animals that had to keep their family members and their kids away because you bumped into them at a mall, and they don't want you to interact with their family or their kids, so they walk away 10 feet and wait for daddy to finish dealing with the fan, what I mean, who's begging for an autograph or something. And so I had a few of those interactions when I was younger, and since I've just stopped because I feel like it's an intrusion on their lives. Unless you're getting it on the field or on the court when they're playing ball, I tend to shy away from that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, now
Give them their space.
do you have any uh personal friendships with any of these? I would take it that's like a no or negligible then.
Oh, you mean like a relationship with any of the former players or anything like that? No, not really. I've met them. I've met Derek Carr. I mean, I've met Jim Otto, that kind of thing. But it was long enough to shake his hand, what I mean, and walk away. I never asked for anything. I never asked to get anything signed or anything like that. I
Okay.
just say, I have a lot of respect for you as a player. I have to tell you, it's a funny story. I actually rented. This is so weird. I can't. I swear to you, it's a true story. But I actually went for a doctor's visit this one time, and it was just a simple physical. You know what I mean? Breathe into this, cough, blah blah. And so I have my physical. I'm done. Doc says you look great. I walk out into the lobby, and the person sitting right where I was sitting, Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, right.
And he's up next. And I had to go over to the thing, and I said, Mr. And I did. I said, Mr. Thompson. I wanted to show respect, even though I'm older than him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I said, Mr. Thompson. I said, I'm a huge Golden State Warriors fan. I showed him my Golden State Warriors tattoo on top of my hands, and I said, I'm a huge fan. I love you as a player. And this is when he was, still pretty young. They were just coming up on that first championship they won, but they hadn't won it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, preaching to him, and he's all, thanks, this and that. And he stands up for me, which I thought was really cool, to shake my hand. And obviously I was just explaining, I didn't ask for autographs or anything, but Captain Jack, you would have loved him.
Nice.
So he stands up to shake my hand. And I said, I appreciate it a lot. I said, so stop dribbling out of the screen over the top of the ball screen. Stop dribbling out of that. Stay your feet and shoot. And he looks at me crazy. He starts laughing. Because, in his career, he literally, at that point in his career, he was struggling with that. He would get a pass and someone would give him a screen, and then he would literally take like a dribble or two to create more space when it wasn't necessary. He got like the fastest shot in basketball.
Right.
And so even though I was, comically giving him shit, it was real. That's why he started laughing. It was almost like he was hearing the echo of one of his coaches from one of his fans.
And he has negated, or he has cut down on doing that. And from what I've seen, is that when he gets the ball, it's almost an immediate spot up jumper.
Correct. He honestly has a set from his elbow to his wrist shot. So when he jumps, he's already in position, and then from the elbow to the hand is all that snaps forward. So he's just so lightning fast. It just wasn't necessary. They just had to get it into his head that, kid, you're that fast. Just do your thing. And now he's doing it. So I'm hoping that we see that same sort of thing with Derek Carr, that he recognizes you're in year 3. You've got the pieces you've got now. I think it's real unfair that they went at him so hard, saying, why does he throw the ball deep? Well, it's easy for you to say. He doesn't have anyone super fast to go deep for him to throw the ball on a given play most of the time. Well, now he does. So everybody can just hold on, shut up, and give him this inaugural season in Vegas to prove his worth. You know what I mean? Forget about whether he's in year 2 or year 10. You know what I mean? He'll just go out there and he'll get it done, or he won't. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and actually, because I was actually going to give you props, because I know what your feelings are about Derek Carr. You're definitely of a, this is the year, let him show what he's worth, let him show his mettle, and if he doesn't get it done, then that will be the transitional year for, you've had 3 years, you've had the weapons. Granted, we can't foresee what possible injuries will come, and I'll knock wood right now, but we can't foresee that. But this is the 3rd year in Gruden's system with a quarterback that has gotten better and better and better, and now he has weapons in the backfield. He's got weapons on the side. I mean, he's gone from having old and slow like Jordy Nelson and that a-hole that didn't even show up to somebody he can actually throw to in Ruggs and Williams and Edwards. And obviously he has a good rapport with Renfro. And so that's good to go. And then you have the all-intense, Swiss pocket knife of Bowden. So we got the weapons this year. And I'm going to remember, because I remember Mike Sarah was asking me about this, and I did remember this, Mike. I'm going to ask you, as a physiologist, intense person, the injury that Ruggs has had, what are your thoughts on that, as far as is there going to be any debilitation shown that we would need to be worried about?
No, I would tell anyone and everyone that's watching this, just focus on this image in your mind. Now, every one of us at one point or another has had one of those metal hangers that you use just to hang a coat or something like that in your closet. Now, if you feel a lot of the time, not all of them, but a lot of the time, there's a sharpness, there's like a sharp edge at the end of the metal loop. Mm-hmm. Now, that metal loop, if it gets straightened out, I mean, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have straightened a hanger at one time or another for whatever reason. Maybe you're trying to open a car door that got your keys locked in or whatever. But my point is that if something like that is straight and it's in a couch, we've all moved couch and moved furnitures and moved couches. And there are just times when sharp edge objects like that get lost in between the cushions. So now here you are, you're moving this couch, you're tired, you know, you want to take a break, you sit down and bam, it impales you in your thigh or your glute, basically your butt. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just trying to give people a visual because the visual description they gave us fit my visual description. I'm just giving greater clarity.
Right.
He basically had something with a sharp edge go into his thigh, and when it did, it basically gave him a lot of pain, impaled him. It could have given him an infection, that kind of thing. But it was the equivalent of like sitting on a hanger, and it went a little deep. It got pulled out. That's it. They've already said he's healthy. They've already said he's fine. There's no damage to the muscles or the nerve. So he's fine. It was really the story. More of the story should have been about the fact that he was so shocked that his medical information should be public, that the press should have a right to that. That's what the press and the Raiders were trying to get him to calm down about, because he was pretty hot that they wouldn't stop asking. He kept saying, this is my medical, you know, you shouldn't be doing this. It took a release from his press agent before we found out that it was actually that he had been poked with something. And then his father said that he was stabbed with something sharp that went into his leg. And then he stopped going further because he realized his son didn't want him to.
Okay. Yeah. And I was going to say, I was kind of surprised that, especially in the off season, with HIPAA regulations being what they are, that the press is being fed all of this stuff. Now, I understand when somebody is involved in, I don't know, maybe that they're involved in the DEA coming into your grandma's house and taking some things, which Mr. Bowden has to deal with. But, you know, that we are being fed all of these things by the press at what I would call an inopportune time. I mean, we're all aware.
Very coincidental.
Yeah, there you go. We're all aware that we all have these issues that we have to deal with the COVID situation. And now, right before we're ready to come to camp and get ready to go in working into groups and all this stuff, now all this stuff is coming to light, and it really pisses me off that it's you know, I feel like it's a massive PR job.
You want to say conspiracy. You know you want to say it's a smear campaign against the Raiders. You know you want to say that there's a handful of reporters out there and papers that any time and every opportunity they have to smear the black and silver, they're going to do it because they hate our fan base, because of how loving and loyal we are and how devoted we are, that there is no off season, and they don't like how much we love our team, and we don't care.
I'm going to afford this in my best Captain Jack voice of, it's fucking ridiculous.
Exactly.
It is. It is. And I find it deplorable. There's a word. I know that you know deplorable. For there you go. It's deplorable that we have to listen to this shit from the before they say I gotta take a shot, I'm gonna reach in and do a shot. Okay.
Yeah, what the fuck, Cap?
That was Bear, that wasn't me. So I don't have to take a shot for Bear.
I'm taking a shot of water.
There you go. And so you take an extra slug. And there it goes. Now, and we're there. We actually, I got a chance to talk to you about, I mean, we talked to you about your likes and dislikes, your family, your upbringing. We'll get to more rosier things in a minute, but we're on the team right now. And obviously I get a chance to watch your show as I can, because occasionally I'm just so beat from doing the show.
Oh yeah, I
don't get a chance to it. And you know, when I'm there, and I'm as excessive, or is that? No, that's not even the right word. I'm accessible. There you go. I'm as accessible as I can be within reason, because again, that 3-hour difference can be a pain in the ass, which is why this is wonderful, because we've never had a chance to do this for as long as we've been doing this. We're on the team now, and I get a chance to listen to you, And I agree with you. And when I was doing the show with Homer, and we went down the schedule, and we looked at the opportunities there, and last year I said that the Raiders are going to be 7-9, 8-8, because I knew that there was going to be some issues there. And
Sure.
not that I'm going to break my hand, patting myself on the back, but I was correct.
Right.
Now, granted,
Oh yeah.
we were 9-7, Bear, and you knew we were 9-7 because we got screwed out of 2 games. So that helped with the draft. That helped with picking up Ruggs before somebody else did. But what are your feelings? I'm thinking 10-6, maybe even 11-5 this year if the breaks go our way, and we don't have a rash of bad injuries at inopportune times.
Well, that's an awesome question. Thank you. And because honestly, I've been talking about this, and I do want to talk about it. And so, great question. Appreciate it. And having said that, you remember the movie? And I know you remember this. I'm just saying this to start the question. But you remember the movie The Bad News Bears?
Oh yeah.
It feels, this team feels kind of like that. It just feels like one of our old Raider teams that came together with a cast of characters. And then when that cast of characters bonds in the locker room, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? We become an episode of Animal House, and Mad Max is John Belushi. You know what I mean? And I just see this thing becoming something. And I've felt that in the past. I was wrong. I've felt that in the past when we had Jack Del Rio. I was wrong. I admitted that on camera. But I've also admitted that, in my opinion, the John Gruden experiment is going really well. In fact, better than people understand. That first crop, that first pull he did working with Carr and replacing the team, anyone would have had the season he had that year. And including Carr, learning such an intricate offense, not having the right personnel, having personnel, pulled out from under you, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so then you go into year 2. He's gotten much better. Personnel starting to build around him more, but you're still getting a lot of shuffling of the deck chairs. Now we come into year 3. We come into year 3 where he knows the majority of the personnel, and the only real additions are attack. Henry Ruggs, Brian Edwards. These are all tools brought in with Mayock's system. I'm honestly saying 11-5. I'm ready to get on board with 11-5. I just feel like you add weapons to an experienced quarterback who's thirsty to win, who knows he has to win Raider Nation, who knows this is where he keeps his job. This is the inaugural year in Vegas, in our new home, a home that we've been fighting for over 20 years. And if he starts the season in Vegas, if we don't win, and I mean win, I don't mean sort of win. If we don't go into Vegas and win, John Gruden is going to be forced to use Derek Carr's head as a pittance offering to us, like voodoo gods, to keep the fan base from wanting to fillet them all. It's on him. It's all on him. He has to do it now. He has to.
I can actually picture, and by the way, obviously the original Bad News Bears, because the Billy Bob Thornton one just isn't as.
I hated the remake.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, I hated the remake.
If going back movie wise, I can see a Marlon Brando-esque figure of John Gruden going up to the Raider locker room in green camouflage in a dark motif, a la Apocalypse Now, okay?
Right.
And throwing a head of Derek Carr, much like he threw the head of Frenchie, the guy on the PT, well, it wasn't a PT boat, but it was one of the riverine boats that they had, remember, and he throws it into the lap of Martin Sheen. Now, Martin Sheen would represent the Raider locker room, and he throws the guy of the French, the French chef that's on the boat, and that's the head. And I can see, John Gruden as Brando the Raider locker room as Sheen, you know, with a head,
Yeah.
it being bobbled up in an Indian or Indian cross-leg stance if Derek Carr doesn't get his shit together. And oh, by the way, substitute the head of and although it wouldn't be as graphic, you can also substitute the head of Paul Gunther in that respect. But I think that's going to be that's going to take place if it does take place, maybe surreptitiously where we don't see it. That I see that maybe Marinelli taking over that defense. If the defense doesn't come to task and perform, it will be a behind the scenes transition of Marinelli taking over the defense so that it's not as public to do to Gunther what might be done if Gunther's defense is not all that and a biscuit. So I can see that.
Okay, but let's be honest. You and I, people who really know football, okay, we know that Rod Marinelli's already got this job. Paul is done. Okay, Paul is basically Derek Carr head for Rod Marinelli. Don't forget, I know you know this, I'm just saying this for the viewers, but don't forget, Rod Marinelli was the guy that worked with John Gruden when John Gruden was with the Buccaneers.
Right.
To John Gruden, he speaks John Gruden's language.
Right.
It's the whole reason why we fired that guy Buckner from Hard Knocks. He fired Buckner not because he couldn't do a good job, but because there was an opportunity to hire Rod Marinelli. He likes Rod Marinelli that much.
Oh, yeah.
He fired someone to make room for him. So he's not going to hesitate to get rid of Paul Gunther.
Oh, yeah, I got that. But that's why I'm saying that if it comes to pass, I don't think it's going to be as gruesome as a scene out of like Julius Caesar getting knifed with the 26 stab wounds. You know, that was a Jeopardy question the other day. I got it wrong. I thought it was Jesus. It's like the first forensic thing with 26 stab wounds, and I was thinking Jesus. No, it was Caesar. I'm like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. But those stab wounds are very apparent, but they're not as visible to the crowd. Right. He did bring in Marinelli, and I think it's going to happen if it hasn't happened already. But there's the public viewing of, Paul's still my guy. He's got us here after these 2 years, and I just brought in Marinelli to tune up the defense that needed to be tuned up. Actually, if you look,
it's supposed to be a communication thing. That's what they really are saying.
Right.
So the biggest argument they're making is that Rod Marinelli is going to help him on the chalkboard.
Well, I don't care what chalkboard that they're viewing. I don't care if it's an Apple Pro or a Microsoft, right. whatever the hell the objects are on the site. It's Microsoft. I had the wrong product placement. As long as the defense, and this is the things that a lot of people, well, not you and I, Bear, but a lot of people gloss over,
right.
is the fact that this team is going to have to be a winning team with a defense that shows up. Because we can score all these points that people are saying that we definitely need to score. And obviously, if Kansas City is going in and scoring, we got that. If it's a track race right now, our defense has to be better than Kansas City's defense. And Kansas City has a decent defense as attested to what goes on. So our defense is the one that's going to need to show up and stop Kansas City. And you say 11-5. Now, is that 11-5 AFC West champions, or is that 11-5 wild card participant?
I hate to say this, but it's wild card participant. I think that it's going to be a little bit wild. In other words, when have we ever had a Raiders season where the Raiders just dominated and went in, other than the years we've won Super Bowls, and then the older years in our 70s team? But since then, obviously, and that's been a long time, we haven't really had a team that just flat out was dominant. You know what I mean? So I don't see that in this team either. I think this team's going to have its ups and downs, especially mid-year. But I think that the ball is going to bounce our way because we're so youthful. There's so much of that Mad Max type of go all the time energy. And I think it's getting popular with our players. And so I just see Malik Collins and all of these new additions are going to come in and they're going to want to show up. And, there's going to be a firebrand where if you don't play hard, there's a guy right behind you that wants to be a Raider too, buddy. It's not like the old days. This team has got some depth now. There's some guys on here that want to take your job if you don't want your job. And so I see a team that can do that. With the controversy, for example, that's hitting Drew Brees, I think that could affect that game with us, breaking ground with Drew Brees. I think there's a chance he doesn't play his best game. I think his age finally starts to show, things like that. And that's why that sort of game that maybe 3 years ago, we don't win that game. You know what I mean? Drew Brees was just too tight. That Saints team was just too rolling. But see, now every year's a different year. He's a year older. He's a year more controversy. And I think those last 2 seasons were Drew Brees and the Saints window. I think their window is now closing. They're still a dominant team. They're still a team that can win. But if you're going to win a ring and you've got a team built to do it, and then you take 2, 3 runs and you don't make it, you're not going to make it. Now you got to start disbanding the team. You got to start paying for contracts. You got to pay more money than you wanted to a guy that didn't help you get to a ring, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? Drew Brees is leaving. So I feel like that all those things are going to add up to a win for us. I really do. And I think a lot of those little games like that, Tom Brady, that's going to be our revenge for the Tuck game. I don't think Jesus will let us lose that game.
Well, actually,
that game means so much to Raider fans.
But if you remember right, we already had the revenge on that stanky ass Brady the year after the Tuck game in what was, I think that was, okay, no, I'm misplayed. But we when the Patriots came into Oakland, and I think it was either a Thursday night game or a Sunday night game after the Tuck game, we beat Brady and the Patriots in our house, if I remember correctly. It was low scoring, but we've exacted the revenge of the Tuck against him and that team. I mean, technically,
I disagree. No tech either. See, it's got to have the karma behind it too. In other words, if it was just a regular season game, so what? We didn't knock them out of the playoffs. We didn't prevent them from winning a ring. It's got to have something there. He gouged us. Him and his team effed with our dynasty and started their dynasty on the back of what was supposed to be ours. That team was about to start a 3-year run easy.
Right.
And they derailed it. Because you know as well as I do, when you have a Super Bowl team, look at the Atlanta Falcons. When the Atlanta Falcons made that run to the Super Bowl, they looked really good. And then they got beaten and embarrassed after a 28-zip lead and losing to that thieving, ring-stealing fraud. Okay? Sorry.
No, I was waiting for the voice to come up for the foots. There you go.
The foot's in it. And so now what happens? Atlanta loses. So now regression happens because now your owner doesn't want to pay all these guys to come back. Your owner doesn't want to maybe pay that little extra money to re-sign that running back or that extra defensive end, whatever the case may be. And so that's what happened to us. He stole our karma. He stole our dynasty. So what if we get a game or two here and there against him? But the karma is all lined up right now because, see, now he's on a new team and he's trying to prove he's still got it. He's trying to prove he can still be dominant. He's trying to take his TB12 system that he's selling and saying, I'm still useful. I can still get it done. Well, guess what, Mr. Human Pinata? We're going to take a big fucking Raider pin and pop a big goddamn hole into all of your plans and put in it from jump. Because if we get him when he's trying to get this whole thing off the ground with the Buccaneers, that's revenge.
Yeah. And I got you. And from all the salient points of him starting with this new organization with the I'm 40 something, but
derail it.
Yeah, I'm 40 something, but I'm really young. And oh, by the way, even though my wife makes more money, by the way, doesn't she look like Skeletor to you? Really?
I think she's ugly. I don't understand how she's a supermodel.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people go off about her. I think she's ugly.
She's beyond. She's fugly.
Not attractive.
She's fugly.
I do. I'm sorry. She needs to eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
I hate her hair. It always looks ratty.
Yeah.
Her cheeks are all sucked in. She looks. I'm not digging it.
Yeah. No. You and I are definitely along. And for all the ladies out there, trust me, we know that the Pachecos are here and Vicky's here. So, ladies present, we know it's not
Hi,
you. We love the ladies here, but Gisele Bundchen is a skinny, nasty bitch. Now, I'm just gonna say it.
Well, yeah. And to the ladies watching too, we want to make it clear. I realize that some of you may be right now thinking, "Oh, you shouldn't body shame people." I want to make it clear. What Captain Jack and I are doing are basically talking about someone who's being presented to us as a $65 million a year supermodel.
Right.
And so, in my opinion, I'm just critiquing a person who's been putting themselves in their public image and what they look like, which is everything a model's about. So all I'm doing is critiquing who and what she is. It's no different than if I critique the body of a sports car.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
no, I got you.
If you want me to say she's super hot, no.
Yeah.
She is not hot.
No, she's not. She's not. I mean, and there are plenty. The other chick that's I think she's South American. I think she's either Brazilian or Colombian. That Edelman was going out with much more attractive.
Stunning.
Much more attractive.
Stunning.
So there you go. And by the way, we hate Brady and we hate his wife. So we got it all here. We got it all here. And I live here, people. I gotta listen to this shit. Every freaking day on the news, your news channel for the Buccaneers. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm so here. I gotta take a big swig for that one.
Another shot. Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't stand it. I can't stand it because I'm here and I gotta listen every freaking time that there is a Bucks Raiders conversation. They live off of one effing game. One game.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if Barrett Robbins doesn't take a unplanned vacation south of the border, it's a different game. Playbook. Yeah. There you go. And I'm trying to get a interview with a Buccaneer from that team. I'm trying to do that because I want to hear exactly from a guy that was on that team. Oh no, I've already made inroads into him, and we're supposed to get together with him.
That is not what I meant.
That
is not what I meant. I meant good luck getting them to be straight with you.
Okay, true. But I have. It depends upon he's out of football now, so he might be a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more candid and show a more, hey, this is what happened. Because the guys that I do interviews with, they're out of football and they've been really cool with their recollections and with their candor as well. So hopefully we can get that. And Watts says, by the way, we need a new coach. So Watts, I tell you, if Gruden gets his shit together and Marinelli has his shit together, then we got that team. We got the team. And Mike Sarah says, blame Callahan. Yeah, because that was the last, and folks, you got to remember, that was the last time that a Super Bowl was played without a week in between for the Pro Bowl and any of that stuff. They went right from the championship game right to the Super Bowl. There was 1 week of time. There was not enough time to do all of the changes that we should have done. And yeah, Bill Callahan, who the very next year was talking about this has got to be the stupidest team in football. You got to do a lot of blaming on Callahan on that one. But hey, I'm off the subject. They did know the plays.
Well, no, if I wait, let me hang on. I got to put 2 cents on this.
Okay.
It was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say, well, why didn't Callahan change the offense? Why did he change the cadence? Okay, first, the loss would have been even worse had you tried to do that short of coming up to the game. When you might have had time during the season because you had a heads up, you knew Gruden was going over there. But at the same time, you were in the middle of the season. You're going to change your cadence. You're going to change your play calls, change your formations. It's impossible. We just ran into the perfect storm.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, we play the Eagles, we beat the Eagles' ass. If the Titans play the Buccaneers, I think the Titans beat the Buccaneers as well, because the way that they would play, and they didn't have. I think that with the gentleman that's no longer with us, the quarterback, Steve McNair, and that offense over a Buccaneers. I think that is. The Bucs would have lost to the Titans. The only game that the Buccaneers were going to win that year was against the Raiders. I firmly believe that as well. But
yeah, no, I do. I agree.
This is this year. Now we've gone through it as well. We have an offense. And do you see, what are the people that you see that are on the team this year? Because remember, we have such an influx of great new talent.
Sure.
What are the people that have been on this team in the past that you just don't see us that being there? I don't see Arden Key being there. I definitely don't see PJ Hall making the team, because I think that Mayock had him on blast before the season even started, and with Malik Collins and the other kid that came over from the Cowboys. I mean, when the GM already has your name on lockdown, you might want to start looking for your quickest way out of town. Hurst maybe survives. I like Hurst, but he definitely needs to put more in his motor. Obviously, yeah, and that's true. He did play well, especially that interception he had against the Jaguars. He just kind of ran out of gas with the kid getting him from and tackling him eventually. Or no, it wasn't the Jaguars. It was the Titans. Yeah, because it was Tannehill.
I like that play though.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Yeah, I mean, so we have the capabilities there. I think Hurst survives. I don't think PJ Hall survives. I agree. I think that iffy right now. LaMarcus Joyner is iffy. I know that he has a good rapport with Littleton from his days with the Rams, but if he starts out slow, if he makes the team, if he starts out slow, I think he's a quick hit, even if for the cap implications. What's your opinion on that?
I like him. I think that we would be moving too quickly if we made that decision right now, just based on what we saw from him last year, because he, like everyone else on the team, was being asked to play out of position a lot of the time. And so, yes, there were times where he was burned, and you'll watch a video and you see LaMarcus Joyner getting burned. But a lot of the time it was because he was playing out of position or trying to compensate for someone who was out of position. I happen to think that LaMarcus Joyner was no accident with the Rams' run to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? He was there with them his first season with the Rams. They had a bad year. People were talking about Goff and whether he was a legitimate starter, such on. And then McVay, turns a few knobs, gets everything on the right page, and LaMarcus Joyner has a great year on their defense. I think he's versatile. I think he's a Swiss Army knife as far as you can put him at the nickel, you can put him at the dime as the extra dime back, you can put him as a free safety. He's a little hard hitter too on top of it. And I'm a LaMarcus Joyner supporter, and so I could see him. I could see him still making.
Actually, I'm gonna afford everybody the opportunity here. You can't call in via the numbers that normally you can call in, but if you would like to,
all that up.
Yeah, screw the bear. For those who care, screw the bear. Kind of like I'm paraphrasing your normal. Yeah, there you go. I'm paraphrasing your normal.
If you care, you screw the bear.
There you go. And love the mama bear too. If you want to talk, to the bear, okay. You're going to have to do it via Skype. Don't worry, you're not on camera, because the camera is on this ugly mug. And I did put it up. If you want to call, you're going to have to call via Skype. And it would be your Skype to my Skype. And, of course, I say this. I need to put my Skype on so people can actually call in.
I'm going to freak them out. I'm going to pretend that I can speak through their Skype. And when Aaron Cortez calls it, I'm going to be like, Aaron, why? God, make your bed.
Yeah. So I mean, if you have a because you don't get a chance to normally talk to the bear. If you want to talk to the bear, and I have Skype coming on, it looks like it's there. I do. Yep, it says welcome Jay, so that means that it is on. If you want to talk to the bear, the number or the Skype information to call is Captain_Jack_Rackham. You can do that right now, and the bear will take your call because we've been talking about the team. We want to hear what you have to say. Now, I will tell you, if the Skype interferes with Bear being able to talk, and there's that issue where I have the two competing sources of audio competing against each other, then it might not work. But I will continue to look at your comments. And Logan Moore says Jordan had the hamstring injury he played through. Watts said that he's not a slot corner. I agree with him there. I think he's more of a twitch safety, but that's the way that is as well. And again, I was looking for questions. Sure. I didn't see if I missed a question. If I missed a question, make sure you comment right now, and I will talk to the bear about it. We do have we've had more people come over on Facebook. I appreciate that. If you're on Facebook, I appreciate that, but get your ass over to YouTube. Oh, Nana was in. Bill Wallenzier was in.
What's up, Nana?
There you go, Nana. Love Nana. G Mike was in. Luis Hernandez.
Good people.
And okay, there you go. Don Webb asked, will Williams, that would be Terrell Williams.
Raider Webb, that's my guy.
That's right. Will he step up this year?
Well, Terrell Williams. Well, we just had a story about Terrell Williams. It was in RaiderRamble.com. It was pretty interesting. And he basically just went on and on about how he's found a new rehab. He feels like he's at a point in his career where he's going to prove that he has what it takes to be the Raiders' number 2 guy permanently. I'm excited for him. I think he meant it. It could just be a guy trying to save his job. You know what I mean? How that is. But at the same time, I kind of believed him. I believe that he believed that he has what it takes now to be the number 2 guy permanently throughout the season. That plantar fasciitis is tough stuff.
Right, and I think that's going to be a detriment because remember that caused Ford his career with the Raiders. You know, he just couldn't shake that plantar fasciitis, and he wasn't able to step up, and no pun intended there. Watt says $11 million. He better step up if his feet hold up. I agree with that. Sacred Coaching is in here. I don't know who that is. Sacred Coaching. If you want to talk to the bear, you're going to have to call in via Skype, Captain_Jack_Rackham. I am reading your comments. I actually think that Edwards, before the end of the year, I think Edwards is going to be seen more often than Terrell Williams. Maybe that's just me, but I think he has more hops. He high points the ball, and he's younger. I mean, Terrell Williams isn't old, but Edwards, I think, just has more hops to him. And I think Terrell Williams is in his high 20s, maybe, or maybe early 30s. He's up there. I think that Edwards might get him. I think. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, Terry Roberts. There you go. Oh, no worries. Well, Terry, thank you for being here. And again, if you I got to say it while we're taking the thing. If you have not signed up for my YouTube channel, you are missing out. You got to be public.
What are you waiting for?
There you go. I mean, you get it. You get myself and the bear, and hopefully we'll do this again. I'm not putting words in your mouth there, Bear, but I'm hopefully that maybe before the season opener, we'll have another combined show, and maybe by then I'll be able to figure out how to do 2 live, not ugly mugs, 1 ugly mug, and then the pristine profile of the Raider Bear in the other screen, and then this way we can also hopefully see Mama Bear too.
I already said I'd do the show. Stop gaslighting me.
Hey man, it's proper. What is it? air being thrust upon thine anus, you know,
Oh,
of the blowing of the smoke up thine arse. So you got to do it
whoa,
properly here, you know, just
nice.
the way it is. And let's see here. I got to put my eye patch up so I can see some of these questions. Mike Sarah says he can't wait to see Bowden. I agree. Don Webb again says, oh, okay. Watts can't call. I know Watts would have called. He's multitasking, so he's listening. Watts, thank you for being. Watts is, you know, Watts Bear. Great
Of course.
information on his channel. In fact, the next thing I want to see, and I haven't had a chance to do it, is he does the breakdown of the Saints coming into Oakland, and I haven't seen it yet. But maybe this week while I'm allegedly maybe on a break. There you go, because I wouldn't want to not work when I'm supposed to be working. But I will look at that breakdown of Watts. Logan Moore says, "Oh shit, you knew it was coming." Ask Bear if he'll be eating a pickle on his show when he receives a LA Raiders bill.
No, stop that.
Well, he says it's a Bill Pickell card. So you're getting a Bill Pickell card, and you're supposed to eat a pickle because of it. So
did you hear about that?
No.
Honestly, I said it on air. I did. I said it on air. I said no way, and the guy said there's a Bill pickle that's a former Raider, and I said no way. And I told them I would eat a pickle on air if there was an actual Bill pickle. And of course, there actually is a Bill pickle.
Well, actually,
and
no,
so
that's not that. No. See, you are correct. There has never been a Bill Pickle. There's been a Bill Pickell. So
I mean that's mincing. That's mincing now.
But
I don't know.
But still, I'm saving you.
Welsher.
I'm saving you.
But I don't Welsh on bets.
Yeah, but technically, like I said, because Bill Pickell and Howie Long and Greg Townsend were the front three for many years. So that is where Bill Pickell came in. And so but dude, I got you, brother. I got you. I know about your hatred, and it's got to be sheer hatred of pickles.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I hate the thing. It's disgusting.
But I can't do it. Yeah, and I got that as well. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. Well, Sixon says that we had a great show. I'm sure it's because of you, because they know they know me and my strange ways. And but the next time, like I said, the next time we do this, make sure that you guys will get your Skype available, because we're going to be talking before the season. We'll pick out a time where we can do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing it again. And
sure.
I want to get into it because we don't have any questions. And again, I'm going this as well. What do you think is the major area that we have to be worried about? Because we've improved so much across the board. We've improved our defense. We've improved our secondary. We've improved our linebacking core. We've improved our wide receivers. We're still suspect, even with Bowden, with backup running back. And that's, in my estimation, that's a weak point, because I remember when Gruden was here in Tampa that he literally ran Cadillac Williams into the ground. And when Cadillac Williams was not a viable force, that decimated the Bucks. Yeah. Now we have Jacobs, and we have picked up Bowden, but I think that we still need more of a bruising back, kind of like the Zach Crockett, John Ritchie type of back. And I don't know if we have that.
Well, we made an attempt with Isaiah Crowell to solve that problem, but I'm sure you remember Isaiah Crowell tore his hamstring last year.
And he was,
as the season was starting.
Right, for sure. But we have
we know they're thinking that way at least.
Now they did sign I think his name was Stanback, who is kind of like the Mojo Drew type of bouncing bowling ball of pure muscle hamster type Doug Martin-ish as well.
Power back.
Right, but he's a pounding back who's quick and got some jets. So I think they tried to address that. But with the drafting of Bowden and the obviously Richard being back there, I think that it would be a numbers game, and I still think that we are one power back short because Jacobs is a power back, but he's also got some jets to him as well. So we still need
Right.
that big bruising back, and I think that's the one thing that we don't have yet.
I agree, and I would also go as far as to say, and I hate this. I mean, I hate even when I do it, but I have to use the name so I can give people a visual. But I feel like Josh Jacobs reminds me a lot of Marcus Allen. He's got that wiggle that he can make guys miss. He's got speed, but he also can take it up the middle, take the A gap to B gap to get you 4 yards to get down on the ground. So I like his versatility. I like the fact that he brings that Marcus Allen sort of reliability of a guy that can bang sometimes, that can, give you speed and can give you jitter moves, make guys miss. And then Lynn Bowden gives you that lightning to Jacob's thunder. So now, do we need that third guy? I think the third guy, as crazy as this sounds, can be Jalen Richard. I don't understand why it can't be Jalen Richard when you consider, even if we may not have a banger back, with Gruden's offense, the way he has so much versatility in it, I just think that there's ways that we can supplement not having that big banger back with bubble screens that are set up from different formations. Throw it on the left, throw it on the right, throw it to different players, put Hunter Renfrow in it, etc. And I think we can compensate for that, much like teams have done in the past where they say, well, we don't have a star running back, but we have two that can really, give us what we need. Well, we would be doing something along that line, but with even more running backs. I say you take that third guy in Jalen Richard and use him as that mix-up back. And instead of using him as a banger back, supplement those banger back yards with more, creative plays to replace those banger moments.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and thank Matt Marinovich, you stole my thunder because I swear I was going to say this. The only type of back that we have that is of that Zach Crockett, John Ritchie mold is our fullback that we have in Alec Ingold. But if that's going to be how we use him, then we need to use him a little bit more because I don't recall Ingold being used in anything other than maybe short yardage. And I don't recall a big play of him like going through and getting more than, definitely I don't, and you guys can probably check the stats on this. I don't think that Alec Ingold had a carry more than 10 yards last year. And maybe it's me, but I don't recall that. Now, if you recall when we had Marcel Reese, who was a big bruising back, but also can do that little hitch pattern out of the backfield where he could run for like a catch a pass and then bowl over somebody and still run 75 yards. That's what I'm thinking, that we still need that one element. And if Ingold is going to be that for us, then let's use him in that role a little bit more. And maybe because we have Bowden, because we have Richard, then we need to make sure that maybe we cut down, or I shouldn't say cut down, but we alleviate a lot of the pressure on Jacobs. Maybe like we remember we would have like maybe a back. I think we did this when Martin was in. We would have the one back with Martin, and then like he would basically have like one quarter was basically his quarter, and then they would have like another back on quarters 2 and 3, and then we'd have Doug back again in the fourth quarter. Now, granted, Doug was a little older, and that's why we did it with him. But Watts, I love you, Watts. Tom Cable isn't calling plays, Jack. There you go. I agree. I agree. Tom Cable isn't calling the play. Well, actually, Tom Cable knew how to use Reese, and I agree with that too, because Marcel Reese was a weapon, and we have Richard, who is that gadget guy out of the backfield. We have Bowden, who, trust me, I know from his career at Kentucky, can be that guy that can run, that can pass, that can throw, and can do everything. So we can do that. And I think we just need to utilize Alec Ingold a little bit more.
Well, yeah, that inside handoff draw, we've used that with him, and it's sneaky, and it gets you 4 yards. and he is a banger. But I don't understand why they don't use it more. Maybe they will, but I think that with so many other running backs that, you know what I mean? I just think that with Lynn Bowden, I think Lynn Bowden is going to have more of an impact than people realize. I really do. I don't think we're going to be in too many short yardage situations where we need a banger back. You know, think of the Chiefs, our arch rival. Do they really have that? No. You know, they find other ways to get around that by doing other things in their offense. I think we're going to do the same thing. You know, we've already heard Gruden say quite often, hey, I'm going to have this guy in 5 different formations, running out of 5 different plays out of each formation. So they're going to give us a heavy dose of Lynn Bowden.
And Mike Serra from the top ropes, because again, I actually, and I agree with you as well. Devontae Booker is that extra guy, and Devontae Booker is this year's answer to Crowell, but he's actually a better, in my estimation, he's a better back in the fact that he can run tough, he can catch passes, although he's more of a run and I don't want to say run and shoot, but run and bowl over people. So there you go. Is that as long as the game plan is there now? Here's a question for you, Bear. And by the way,
okay.
I got you on. How much longer can you be here? So I don't want to take away your Sunday, brother.
I got you, man.
Okay.
I got you, man. Okay.
When tell Mama Bear that as soon as it's past your not your bedtime, but your family time is here. And by the way, give her a big hug and kiss from me for you being here for this. I appreciate that, and lots of love to Mama Bear as well. But I always find it particularly offensive, and that's a great word here because I use, there's a pun here, okay? I find it particularly offensive that we have that guy who's supposed to be the offensive coordinator and he's not, when Gruden actually is. And if you're going to pay that guy, all that money, let me come over there. I'll even wear my suit or not, depending on what the requirements are. I will hold a clipboard. I will have a headset on. I will look mean and stern and will cover my mouth like I'm talking to somebody on a play and do absolutely fucking nothing during the game and get paid a lot of money to do it, because that's just the way I think.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but I think Greg Olsen is a necessity in the sense of you can't have just Gruden on the players because of how hard he grinds people. And I think that in a way, Greg Olsen is the teacher's assistant. He is the buffer between the players and Gruden on occasions, both from Gruden to players and from players to Gruden. I think Greg Olsen is that guy that's trying to be the chalkboard guy in ways where John Gruden won't have the patience for that. You see what I'm saying? And so Gruden acts as though he is the captain of this, to use an analogy that you'll understand. He's the captain of this ship. Now he's got his underling captains that do these other things. He's still the captain, but they convey his thoughts to the rest of the people on the ship to keep that high morale.
Okay, and now I'm gonna Navy speak that. Gruden's the captain of the ship, and Greg Olsen is the officer of the deck.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I get that, but here's the other thing, though, is I see him being the buffer, but I just want to see more out of him, or maybe it's because. Maybe it's because we don't see what we don't see, and I get that. I mean, I'm not in the locker room. I am not in the team meetings. I wish I was, obviously. So there are things that we don't see, and we can only go by perception. I just wish I saw more out of him. Now, I understand that Olsen is there because he had that great rapport with Carr in his first stint with him, and he's a very good asset for him in that respect when he was the quarterback coach in Carr's first stint. And I think that's more of he's Carr's kind of like, he's Carr's buffer to Gruden more than anything else. And that's what I think his real accomplishment is there. Now, while we're on Carr, When do you think, I mean, just, scientific wild ass guess, when do you think that the number two quarterback, Marcus Mariota, might show enough of his knowledge of the playbook? Because remember, this is Carr's third year with the playbook, so he's got so much more of that knowledge in there. So I mean,
right, it's way too far ahead of him.
Exactly. When do you think that Mariota could possibly show enough? And again, this is just pure conjecture. That sure enough, that if Derek Carr doesn't show anything, that Gruden would have no qualms making a switch in game.
Year two, like week 6, I would say. I think it's going to take, for example, when I say year two, I mean year 2 for Mariota.
Right.
And that would be obviously year 2 in Vegas. I think if Carr has a poor start in Vegas, it's going to look real bad on him. But at the same time, I don't think Mariota will be ready first year in Vegas to be the guy. The offense is too intricate. It's not just being there. It's so much to learn and so much to do. Now, if I was going to be aggressive, which I always am, I would say that I would put Foots in that whole plan, because Mariota to me fits into that same role that RG3 and Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel and a lot of these other quarterbacks that were basically used in college by their coaches, where they called plays, and they made plans in their offense. But basically, it was just a college team running over a subpar college team with a quarterback that just knew a handful of plays and a handful of reads, and they worked every time because they were always scheduling these lame-ass college teams that didn't have a chance going into the door. And so now you come out of college, and you're a guy like Tim Tebow, or RG3, who's never been taught how to read a defense. RG3 had never taken I shouldn't say never, but almost never took the ball from snap from center. He was always a shotgun offense. And he wasn't taught how to take a drop. Literally the simplest thing in quarterbacking, he admitted no one ever taught him how to do a 3-step drop, his footwork to get to 3 steps and then stop, plant that right foot and throw. He didn't understand how to do that. They said, well, what is your 5-7-step drop? He's like, I just take a few steps back, I read, and then I throw. He didn't even understand step drop. And so there's so many of these guys that came into the league like that. I think Mariota's is just another one of them. I'm concerned. I like his athleticism. I like his attitude. I like the fact that he's a community guy. He will reflect well for the Raiders. He will bring nothing but a good image to the Raiders. But does he have what it takes if he could be beaten out of a job by Ryan Tannehill, a converted wide receiver quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if he can do that, if he can't beat Ryan Tannehill, in a job that was his, the team is saying it's your job, but we're changing the offense and we're bringing in this other guy. You're going to have to beat him. And then he couldn't, in a place that was the only place he'd known. I'm concerned.
Now, having said that, do you think that the Raiders actually go after one of the Wonder Boy quarterbacks in the draft next year? And not necessarily in the first round, because remember, Carr was a second rounder and has been our starter since jump. Do you think that the Raiders actually go after a high-viz quarterback, maybe not necessarily the kid out of Clemson, who everybody says is going to be the number one pick, but remember, there's always quarterbacks that shine in college if we have a season this year. Let me quantify that. If we have a season this year, and God help us, and hopefully we will, do the Raiders take a quarterback maybe in the second round next year that said this is going to be the guy that we are grooming to eventually take over for whomever? And I say whomever because we don't know what's going to transpire this year.
Right.
Basically, Gruden's guy that he's never had on this team.
Right. Right. I hate to say this, but flat out, yes. Gruden, if you really see, I say this on my show a lot. If you want to know what someone's going to do, look at their actions, not what they tell you. That's just jargon. That's just politics. That's just words. When you watch their action, their actions speak louder. It's the oldest euphemism in the world. And so if you look at Gruden's actions, what has he done? He has flipped this roster from top to bottom. But how did he do it? He did it holding on to the most important piece, the last piece, the piece that if you're going to deal it or cut it or whatever else, it's the one you deal with absolute last. Everyone went crazy when they dealt with Khalil Mack and left him. And, you know, there was all this controversy about whether Gruden wanted him or not. And there was controversy about whether or not Mack had flown in and whether they were having secret meetings and all this, you know, BS puts in it. And honestly, Gruden then what? Let the guy go. There was all this controversy about whether it was on Gruden or whether it was on Mack or was it money. They want that. They want it to be this JFK conspiracy because then the fans can never really be completely solidified in their anger at either Mack or Gruden. So the story goes away. But what happens? Then he does it again and he does it again and he does it again with all these guys on the roster, moving them, trading them, or cutting them. Even guys that just got there. So he is waiting on Carr last and saying to Carr, you're the last semblance of what was on this team from the previous mind that was building this team. So if you want to stay, you got to show me you can do the job. Well, year one was an interview, didn't go well, but you have to understand that. He didn't have personnel around him. Year two goes much better. He has a little bit of personnel. And then year three, we get now all of the Mayock draft picks. He's going to have all the weapons around him. This is as it gets. Because Captain Jack Rackham, I would guess, even has his plank that he makes landlubbers walk if they don't get their shit together.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, he is out on the edge of it, and your saber is at his butt. And if he doesn't do and say the right things right now, he's going to develop a very strong relationship with sharks.
Okay, and I love the analogy.
Put foots in him.
I put foots in him with a saber up his ass. I like that. That's a great visual. But if you also go back to, and we're going to go back to Gruden as a head coach. Now we'll go to Gruden 1.0. He gets rid of Jeff George and flips him with Rich Gannon and never looked back. Okay. So and it worked. It did work. But let's also go back to Tampa, because in Tampa, he had negligible input from the guys that he drafted. I know he drafted Chris Sims. I believe he drafted Gradkowski, who's a great guy. Hopefully I get a chance to talk with him sometime soon. So these are the guys that he's drafted, but he's only had good rapport with the guys that came in that were later, with the Jeff Garcias, with the Johnson that he won the Super Bowl with. So he's always relied upon the older vets. He hasn't really had the wherewithal or the good luck to get the guys that are young and groom them out. So if I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying if you look at his track record, he doesn't really do that though. He finds the wily vet. And then would have to look to who's available next year. Because if he's going to be doing what you're saying, where he gives Carr this year and maybe Mariota, and he rolls the dice if it's not happening. And hopefully this is all goes for naught, because we're 12-4 and surprise everybody. And not only we're beyond 11-5, we're actually 12-4, and we're actually the AFC West champion. I don't think that either. I think we are a wild card with the expanded wild card, because I think Kansas City's going to be there for one more year. I think that it's next year that we take the mantle, but that's next year. Having said that, I think that if you talk about the track record of that, I think that maybe Gruden is actually looking for that vet that he's going to flip Carr for, much like he flipped Jeff George, much like he flipped Johnson for, the younger guys, which didn't work, and then he got Jeff Garcia at the very end. I don't know whether he's actually learned enough, and hopefully Mayock will instill that in him, but it's going to have to be a a Vulcan mind meld between Mike Mayock and John Gruden as to somebody that has the smarts, the wherewithal, the book knowledge, and the capabilities to do that. That's why in a perfect world, the Raiders do like a Ricky Williams draft. Maybe not throw everybody in for that number one pick, but they give a substantial
I don't think
amount.
Trevor Lawrence is worth that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to be for Trevor Lawrence, but there's got to be somebody that they have enough of a look for that say that's our guy. And remember, I love the way that Mayock thinks, and he has been gold with all of the picks.
Yeah.
He hasn't missed on a pick, and every guy that was that he picked was on the team last year, up to and including Bell, who was the 7th rounder that actually got taken off the practice squad. He was still on the team. They didn't miss on a pick. And I don't think that they've missed on any picks this year. I think that they're all going to contribute, that the free agents that have come in are going to contribute. That's why I love Mike Mayock, love everything that he's done. But I'm not so sure that is the route unless Mayock takes him by the side and says, John, we need a quarterback of the future, even if Derek Carr does everything right this year. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. That's why I was just asking.
Yeah, sure. But to be honest with you, with everything you said, I would say this. It's tough because how do you evaluate what Gruden did when you say to yourself, okay, even when he was with the Bucs, he was carrying 5 quarterbacks at one time. That's unheard of. It looks weird. It looks like you're indecisive. And then he ends up settling down once again on the veteran. And I think that he was planning on doing that anyway. Is he looking for a young guy that's his pick to be the guy that Gruden can say, this is my guy, my horse, we're going to ride him to wins and championships, ride or die on John Gruden's mind and whoever his arm talent pick is. Now, do I feel like he's feeling that pressure and in part put it on himself? Yes, by doing a show for a decade where he was featuring all of the best young and up-and-coming college quarterbacks and then commenting constantly about which ones that he could work with and he could do this with and he could do that with. Well, now a lot of people are going, okay, Mr. Quarterback Whisperer, you've got your team back. You've got an opportunity to do it. Are you going to whisper to Derek Carr, or are you going to finally bring in that young kid and prove and show that this knowledge base and your abilities, this, so to speak, quarterback guru, well, let's see it for real instead of always trying to show us what you got. Subtle Rick and Morty reference. Show us what you got. Instead of trying to show us what you got through veteran guys. Well, I don't think he's going to do that. I really don't think he's got the gut. I'm being dead honest. I don't think he's got the gut. I think he's looked down that barrel a couple times, and every time he pulls back up on the stick like the plane's about to hit a mountain. I think that he's going to stay veteran, and I think some of the evidence in that is, if you remember this year, it was like episode 2 of Hard Knocks. What did he start joking about? Saying he was making reference jokes about how he's an old man, and oh, he's back in football, the old man moving slower than ever. Oh, I'm the old fat coach back to try to bring the Raiders to greatness. And then he says, oh, look, there's those analytic coaches, football in the future. And basically started to make fun of it. Basically acted like, I don't even deal with those guys. I don't deal with analytics guys. Well, that's a very close look into his thought process. He's still old school. He still wants to do this old school. Heavy run, play action, throw deep when it's there. And you need a veteran for that. And I don't know if Mariota was a move to try to create genuine pressure finally on Carr, who's never had any, ever, his whole career.
No.
And I just think that was a light attempt that was really easy because the kid was available in free agency. So let's just take this name kid and say, yeah, you know what? He might be it. He might be the guy that we can use to replace you, Derek. You know what I mean? And it's not legitimate. I think he's a one-read run quarterback, and that's why he lost his job in Tennessee.
Remember that the best, most capable quarterback that Derek Carr has had behind him, and you guys might not agree with me, but when you look at who he's had behind him, Matt Schaub sucked.
Matt RAIDER.
No. I'm not going to say Matt Schaub. The most capable quarterback that Derek Carr has had behind him, in my estimation, has been E.J. Manuel. because it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't.
I agree.
It wasn't the guy that was a statue last year that lost his job in Tampa Bay and Chicago, who's long gone, who's so forgettable I even forget his name. Okay. It wasn't Matt Schaub, who was such a stiff that he couldn't even take the spot when it was given to him. And we got rid of old what's his boy, Matt Damon lookalike to get Matt Schaub in here. Okay. It wasn't that guy. So Derek Carr's had this job on lockdown since a rookie. The most capable quarterback that he has had behind him has been E.J. Manuel. And that's not saying a lot, but E.J. Manuel came in and played well in spurts when he had to do it. Yeah. So I think that that is definitely something that we have improved upon this year, that we have a quarterback that is at least allegedly, and I will say allegedly, capable of coming in a pinch like that pinch hitter. Like it used to be Dusty Rhodes, and no, not Dusty Rhodes, the wrestler. Way back in the 50s and 60s, Dusty Rhodes was the pinch hitter that when you needed a hit, he'd come off the bench and he would be, hadn't even taken a practice swing and would come in and hit you a 3-run home run because they needed it, right? That's what we need with the backup in this situation, is somebody that's going to be capable of running the show. And hopefully Mariota is that. And I say hopefully with the two auspices of, hey, hopefully we don't need him. But if we do need him, hopefully Mariota will be able to at least run the show and do things. And I still think that maybe, like you, I'm pinning hopes on him that he has the capabilities of doing it as a Heisman Trophy winner. But like you said, he hasn't really shown a lot. And if you're getting beaten out by a kid that played wide receiver at A&M, and the only reason why he gets drafted is because his old A&M coach goes to the Dolphins and says, I want to bring my guy with me, because he eventually did have the capabilities to do what was needed in Tannehill. But my God, you're going to let that guy beat you when you're the Heisman Trophy winner? That to me, and again, I like Mariota, I do, but there's still that big question mark there, which is why I even gave the analogy of the is he going to be able to do it? And Bear, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to. I want to hog you for the rest of the night, but I want to be in good with Mama Bear. I got you for an extra 20 minutes. That
you're reading her mind anyway. She was waving at me by the door there.
Okay, see, I said I got you for an extra 20 minutes. So tell Mama Bear that I really appreciate the time. And for all those people here, I appreciate you working with me. We will have Bear back on. It will be a Bear Jack show. I like that, the Bear Jack show. And we'll do that before the season, when it gets a little closer, once we know what's going on. And I say that
because if you say Jack Bear, that doesn't sound
Nah, Bear, I'll go. I'll take second. I'll take second billing there. That's fine.
Well, Cap and the Bear. Now we could do that. Cap and the Bear.
Okay.
But not Jack and the Bear.
No, not Jack and the Bear. That's a visual that I really don't want to think about. No. Yeah.
Toilet humor for everyone to sign out. There you go, everyone.
That's it. So having said that, we are going to, and I'm going to get with my outro. Although I like your stuff too, but we're going with my outro music, which is Bludgeonator. Raider fight. You'll definitely have to go back and listen to it. It's really good to listen to. I've enjoyed this. I'm giving you a big air hug right now. You can't see it, but I'm giving you a big air hug, and I'm giving Mama Bear a big air, and I'm giving her a squeeze and a kiss. So you'll have to make sure that she gets that.
What's that shit? Hey.
Hey, I'm an old fluffy guy. I can get away with that stuff. Because I'm old and fluffy. You're not fluffy, man. Exactly. You're too svelte.
No.
You're too svelte. I'm fluffy. I'm shaking my little belly like Santa, like I used to do in the Philippines. When I can do the Santa laugh, I can get away with all that shit. Dude, I love you. I appreciate you being here.
Love that.
Best of all of that to you, folks. If you like the show, and you haven't done so already, damn you, give me a thumbs up because I live for that. And make sure that you are here and subscribe. Bear, I'm gonna let you have one of the last words out. I want your call out as we go to Shadows.
Well, just don't forget, you make sure you check out my guy, Captain Jack Rackham. I want to say again, thank you so much for having me on tonight. Check him out. And, of course, our guy, Watch Raider, also on YouTube, Chris Bernard, great guy. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who ventured to YouTube and use Skype to come see your boy and hear me out. I really appreciate that. I love you so much. Captain, I love you so much. And just one time for everybody, the RAIDER!
Foots in them. Foots in them.
Right?
If they don't like the bear.
Foots in them.
There you go. And I'm gonna teach you how to do this as well because I cannot do what you do, but I'm gonna teach you how to do this. Yeah, Raider Nation.
Yeah, I like that. All right, hang on. Let me give it a temp here. Hold on.
Okay, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
There we go. Yarr, Raider Nation.
That's not bad.
That actually wasn't bad. Yeah, I surprised myself there. I really thought that was gonna suck.
No. I mean, and like I said,
all right.
that's not bad. I got you can't see me. I have my eyes are watering like a bitch because I know I've been on too long. When I start rubbing my eyes, I have been on. Love to you. Love to Mama Bear. Love to everybody out there. Make sure you stop by, subscribe. Obviously, Raider Bear is on Monday through Friday on his channel on Facebook. Thank you for being here, folks. Bear, don't go away quite yet. I'm going to stop the stream. Y'all take care. We'll see you on Thursday, Wednesday if I have an interview, but definitely Thursday. We'll see everybody on the next show. Yeah,
everyone.